Hey everyone, we are live on the Overland Podcast. Thank you for joining us. It is Tuesday, December the 3rd, 2024, and we are live. Tony's in Northwest Arkansas. Thank you, Tony, for being here. I
Hey,
love
buddy.
your little Blackbeard patch you got propped up there on your mic. That's pretty cool.
Oh
I'm
no, it's
really
attached
jealous of
now.
that.
I got it now.
Super
It's good.
jealous of that. Oh, you got it stuck a little bit now.
Yeah. I
And
found this.
joining us, we got all the way from Salt Lake City, Utah, KJ Thompson from Blackbeard Fire. KJ, thank you for being on here with us.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
You bet. Well, we took last week off. We did not have a podcast last week. We took off to be with our families over the holidays. I did a little bit of traveling. My wife and I went to New Mexico, got to cross a few things off our bucket list. And, I've been talking to everybody at work today about going up in a hot air balloon ride. And people are like, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could do that. Tony, could you do that?
I don't know, man. I mean, probably, but I
What
mean,
scares you about it?
it's
What scares you about it?
other than the heights and there not being a whole lot beneath your feet.
It's just a wicker
It,
basket.
it's well, and I guess the biggest scare that I have is the abrupt stop at the end of the fall.
It was an abrupt stop. I've got a little video of that I will share on my social media in the upcoming days. KJ, you ever been up in a hot air balloon?
I have not, and I was going to ask you, do you guys have like a safety parachute in there or anything like
There
that?
was no parachutes. That was one of the things that I asked. I asked two questions.
Okay.
I said, "Are there any parachutes?" He said, "No. Normally we come down slowly." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that didn't
Yeah,
ease my mind at all."
but he
And
had to use the word normally.
yeah,
Normally, we come
normally,
down
normally
slowly.
we come down slowly. Well, it all depends on the wind. He was telling us, if you ever try to fight Mother Nature, you're going to just hate this job. You
Uh-huh.
just kind of have to go with it. And, we learned that because we were up there. We never felt the wind, not one time. And he would go up and he would go down and we would just go with the wind. But we ended up landing on the Pueblo Indian Reservation because the wind blew us over there. And we had to call the Pueblo Indian officers to come unlock the gates so we could get the chase vehicle in there to pack everything up. And we just kind of had to go where the wind blows. And but I never felt unsafe. But the second question that I asked was, has anybody ever dropped their phone? Because I was worried. I was taking videos, pictures the whole time, and I was worried about dropping my phone because you only get one chance at that.
Hmm.
And
Right.
if you drop it in the middle of Albuquerque City, it's gone, and especially from 1,000, 2,000 feet or
Oh,
whatever.
I can't drop it off the end table and it last.
I was white knuckling that thing. I mean, I can't believe I didn't crush my phone. I was squeezing it so tight. But anyway, I didn't feel unsafe not one time. The basket came up, pretty high. I have a pretty good fear of edges, but with the basket being so high, I was just leaned over on the side. Floating on air is one of the most peaceful feelings, and I would encourage anybody just to do it once. It's not anything like you would think. It's not like jumping out of a plane where you're
Not like
falling all the time.
skydiving or anything.
No,
Yeah.
no, this guy was really good. He took us over the trees. He set us right on the water on the Rio Grande and then shot us up about 1,000 feet. And
Wow.
it was beautiful. I highly recommend, if you do it in the wintertime like we did, get in the basket first, because that way you're underneath the fire and that
Mm.
way you're not cold, because that was my one worry, was being cold. But we were not cold. My wife loved it. It was
I
great.
bet.
But anyway,
So what does he use for fuel? Is it propane or
it's all propane. Yeah,
Is
he
it?
had 3 humongous propane bottles, and we were up in there a little longer than what he thought we were going to be, so he actually had to unhook one and hook the other. So we were without fuel, just floating for, I don't know, maybe a minute while he
Oh.
unhooked one and did the other. Now I was watching him. The other people were like looking around, and I was watching the guy, and I was kind of, this is kind of sketchy. It's
Yeah.
kind of like running out of or your engine's going out in an airplane. You're just, what do you do now?
Coasting.
So how
Coasting
high
along.
were you? What was the highest elevation?
I'd have to look on that. He sent us a thing that showed us. I think we were at 2,600 feet.
Okay.
It wasn't that high, but it was. I mean, it was a long ways up.
Yeah.
You could tell, you could see the city and the mountains and all that, and it was very clear that morning. We got to see the sunrise. He said we could see about 200 miles that day.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So it was something, but very peaceful, very peaceful. So
How big is the basket that you guys are all in?
the basket, I'm going to say, was probably about 10 feet wide, 20 feet long. It held 13 people. So it held 12 and then the driver or the pilot.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
it was split down the center. So it was 6 on each side. And, it wasn't anything like I thought it would be. I thought there would be a few less people there. I thought it would be a little more intimate, but it was not crowded. We had plenty of room to move around, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. I'd do it again today or tomorrow. Not today. It's too cold.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Interesting.
It was fun. I would encourage anybody to do that. It was, but taking off that week, it reminded us that we had a lot to be thankful for. Even though, Tony, you spent the whole week working on vehicles, you still have a lot to be thankful for. Do you have 3 running vehicles now? Are you good?
They are all 3 running, and only have one with lights on at the moment.
One with check engine lights on.
One with a check.
Is that your wife's Jeep now?
Yep,
Still?
Yep. Still got a check engine light on that. For some reason, that whole thermostat issue that we had last winter.
Mm-hmm.
Same exact code as resurfaced. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if we've got a thermostat or something, but
I
got my daughter's engine and transmission swapped out, and so
Hey, if your check engine light's not on, you're not living, man.
That's
I agree.
That's
I agree.
I
agree.
That's just like a rite of passage for all men. Like if your check engine light's not coming on,
we've got 3 vehicles, and 2 of them it's always on.
Yep. Yep.
Always.
Yep.
And one of them, I always know why it's on. Well, actually, both of them, I know why it's always on. It's not a big deal. You just have to get over the fact that it's on and look past it.
Yep.
So, I get nervous when she leaves the house in the morning. I'm nervous until she gets to work, or when 4 o'clock rolls around, I'm nervous if she starts calling. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Well, yours is a little bit different. Yours is a little bit different because she has called you in the last few months on the side of the road, wanting you to come get her. We haven't experienced. Well, I take that back. Mine quit. What was it, about 2 months ago? Mine quit, and I had to call a wrecker to come pick us up and towed us home. But
that was July or August, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
I guess it was. But new fuel pump, we're back good. We're good. But July is over and winter is here. I don't know how it is up there where you are, Tony, but it's cold down here, and it is sitting around the fire weather.
Yes, it is.
I'm loving that.
Yeah.
We're scheduled this weekend to go down to Denton, Texas, to Outback RV is having a I don't even know what they call it, but anyway, there's going to be a bunch of overlanders down there. I got a cooking thing I got to do, and we're going to be camping, and it's going to be cool. We're going to get to have a little time around the fire. And
there's been rain, so there's no more burn bans going on.
I love it. It
seems like we've had burn bans forever.
Well, it didn't rain for like 6 months in Arkansas. So, yeah, everybody gets to enjoy a fire this fall because we've had a lot of rain. And so that's going to be nice. But everybody likes a good campfire. There's no place like it. That's where friends are made, stories are told, lies are told. It's where we cook. It's where we eat. We love it. But what we want to talk about tonight is, how do you make that fire? How do you get that fire started? Are you a lighter fluid kind of guy? Are you a throw some gas on it and run kind of guy? I was that guy for a while, and I was that guy
one time.
I still have my eyebrows
in my early 20s. Yeah, in my early 20s, I was that guy one time.
Oh my gosh!
And the atmospheric pressure drastically changed for a split second. I was like, yeah, that's why you don't use gas.
No, you got to be safe. At our age, the time it takes to get away and run has significantly decreased. We can't run anymore. We can't. Our getaway time is not very good. Our reaction time is not very good. So you got to be safe.
The healing time is not very good.
So anyway, you got to figure out how do you start your fire. I did something today, and I've never done this before. I Googled fire history. And this was something that I've never looked up before, and I kind of wanted to do a little research on the show tonight. So when I Googled fire history, there was a ton of things that came up. And what really struck me was the discrepancy on time era about when the first fire was, because it went from someone saying the Paleolithic era around 420 million years ago was when the first carbon dating of the first fire that they thought. And I thought 420 million, that's a long time. But most of them said 1 to 2 million years ago. And still, that's a long sticking time. But, they said it was used for all different kinds of things, to keep warm, for protection, for making tools, and signals, for lighting, social gatherings. But, it goes back to the first caveman, I guess, that we've been making fire a long time. And I don't know how they started fire back then, but we have a much easier way to do it now. And I am so very thankful. We got some of the best matches, some of the best lighters, and some of the best igniters that we have ever had in history. And I love it. But we want to talk about Blackbeard. I have, whoa, my chair went down. I don't know what happened to that. I don't know what I can't even remember what I did and how I started a fire before Blackbeard came along. I remember Scott teaching me how to whittle some wood down and make a little pile, and he told us stories about. And KJ, I want to point this out. In your history, I read you are a Eagle Scout. And how cool that is, because you don't hear much of that anymore. And Scott, one of the guys that we camp with, is an Eagle Scout. And when he was going through the Scouts, he tells stories about his dad would give him, a little piece of wood, and he would give him one match when he left for work. And when he got home that evening, he would ask him every day, "Did you get your fire started? You only get one match. Did you get your fire started?" So every day he would build a fire. And that, he says, to this day, and he's in his late 50s, early 60s, he says that is one of the best things his father could have taught him, was how to start a fire, how to keep a fire going, because you never know. If you live this lifestyle of being outside, outdoors, that could save your life. It could help people find you. There's so many things that you can do with that. And he has used that throughout his life. And that's such a cool story to me. And I never had anything like that. Later on in life, I had to kind of teach myself, okay, we got to move away from, we got to figure out how to do a fire without the gasoline. That's too dangerous. We can't be doing that. Can't be doing it. See too many TikTok videos of guys setting themselves on fire, and don't want to do that. But everything has changed. Blackbeard's around. So let's talk about Blackbeard fire starters. I am amazed by these things. So, KJ, tell us how in the world all this started, where it all started from. Give us an introduction of how this all began.
Yeah. So me and my brother, we love being outdoors. We're here in Utah. Here in Utah is pretty unique from the rest of the country in that, you can drive like within less than an hour drive. You can be in the mountains, and then you can also be in desolate desert. Like it switches that fast. And so what the whole goal behind Blackbeard was to come up with something that you can get your fire started. Doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter if you're in the Uintas here in Utah, the mountain range here in Utah, deep in the mountains where there's, pine trees, forests, that kind of environment all around you. Or if you're in the barren desert, where there's nothing around you. So we wanted something because, there's, Mother Nature is king, right? No one can replace Mother Nature in all things, whatever it be. Medicine, fire starters are no different. Mother Nature is always king. But at the same time, we wanted something that you could go up in the mountains, you could go to the desert, you could be in dry, humid Utah, or you could be, dry Utah, or you could be in humid Arkansas, and it's going to light no matter what. You could be high elevation Colorado, or you could be at California sea level, and that would light up the same no matter what every single time. Just that universal fire starter that will work in any environment, work under stress, working under the worst conditions. And so that's kind of where it started. We wanted to make that fire starter, something that everyone in the whole country could use, regardless of situation, regardless of climate, regardless of any outside factors. It's going to work no matter what. And that's what we set out to do. And I think that's what we've accomplished.
So cool. How you were both working together, building mountain rustic furniture. Do you still do any of that?
No. So we actually retired from that. It was long story, but anyways, it was a huge blessing. A little bit, a while back, we were able to retire and just focus on Blackbeard 100% of our time.
Yeah. You still do any carpeting though? You still use those skills at all? Or do you have time? You may not even have any time.
You know what, if I'm being honest with you, I do not have any time, and it kills me too, because I've got my house, and when my last year working at Utah Mountain Furniture as a carpenter, I had all these grand plans. I'm going to make myself a dining table. I'm going to make, all my kids' beds. I'm going to make, all this furniture. I honestly just haven't had any time, man. I mean, that's how life goes, I guess. But I would love to do it, but I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
Well, I know you travel a lot. There's so many shows these days that you have to attend to get the word out, sell your product, and do things like that. And I follow you on social media pretty close, and I know y'all attend quite a few of them. And the travel is just crazy throughout the year. So I know that takes up a lot of your time. I love your social media. Your social media goes right along with kind of what I do. You do some serious talk about life, practical things, but then you do some crazy funny videos. And I love that. It's fun. It's entertaining. Yep. It keeps people going. And you just are lighthearted. You enjoy life, and really enjoy that about you. I just wanted to compliment you on that. Just absolutely love that. And
thanks. We try not to take ourselves too serious.
I absolutely love that. So the Blackbeard Fire Starter is U.S. made, and it's crazy how you have to say that. There aren't too many things that are U.S. made these days, but made right there in Salt Lake City, Utah, and using 100% American-made materials and ingredients. I love that. But one thing that really blows my mind, when you look at the about and you look on your website at what these things are and kind of how they're made, I love mashing it with my fingers because it's soothing to me. Infinite shelf life. That blows my mind. Mm-hmm. Totally blows my mind that these do not go bad. It seems like everything these days goes bad at one time or another. But, for people who are preparing for the apocalypse or the zombie, invasion or whatever, you need to stock up on these because they do not go bad one of these days. When you're putting your freeze-dried food in there, throw some Blackbeard in there because they, whether unopened or opened, do not evaporate, deteriorate, or dissipate. And the first ones light the exact same as the last ones. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's funny because we always laugh like, man, we are the worst businessmen ever. We created a product that lasts forever. So people just literally just have to buy it one, depending on the person. Yeah. You guys are going to use it a lot more than the average everyday American. But like a lot of people, they buy it for like their 72-hour kits. 50 fires. There's a lot of people in America that will never light 50 fires in their lives. So in essence, what we did is we killed our own business. So but it is what it is. But no, yeah, we when we were making this, like I was telling you earlier, the worst case situation, was in mind when we were developing this. And one of the things is it's got to have a shelf life. it can't be some little rinky-dink product that you buy and then in a couple of years it's expired. What happens when someone, when the emergency finally happens and someone in their family, they're relying on our product to get it started, and they open it up and it's, I don't know, a pile of dust, or it's deteriorated, or it's it's whatever it is. Like, we can't have that. And so that was like a big thing that we set out to accomplish, was creating a product that's going to be just rugged and strong and just last. Because a lot of people, you guys, the overlanders, you guys are always out doing stuff. A lot of our audience too is going to be like the preppers, or the 72, just throwing their go bag or their glove box in their car, wherever they, or their junk drawer. But and so we wanted something that would be ready no matter what. Didn't matter how they store it, didn't matter if it was in a hot car, didn't matter if it was in a cold garage, didn't matter. We had to have something that would work. And so,
or if you're some of the folks out east that have been suffering through the hurricane that came through there, and if they've had water in their house or something, and they come home for the first time, they can pull out their bag of plugs and they can still have a fire right there, even if it's been underwater.
Yeah, it's crazy. We've gotten some reviews, and it's been really cool because we've gotten this a couple times actually, where people have told us that, they had a backyard fire and they had our Blackbeard Fire starter, and they were doing fires in the fall, and then they left all their fire gear outside, left their Blackbeard outside. Winter came, it snowed, they forgot about it out there, whatever. Spring comes, all the snow melts, thaws out. They go back out there, they find their Blackbeard Fire starter. Oh yeah, I remember this thing from last fall. They cut off a little piece and they light it. It lights right up. And we've had several people comment that same exact scenario. So it's awesome to hear that. It's something that's been sitting on the ground underneath the snow all winter. So,
wow.
Joey, have you used any of the rope?
I don't have any of the rope. No, I got to get some of that from you.
So what's the difference between the rope and the plugs in terms of what's better for certain situations or whatever?
Sure. So the rope is going to be a little bit more rugged. As you can see, the rope, it's very solid in your hand. So it's 100% cotton. It's like a stick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we take that rope and we pack that extremely, extremely tight. We take our special blend of oils and waxes and make sure it's impregnated, and we pack that sucker tight. So that thing is super rugged.
Yeah.
So the biggest difference is going to be the shelf life. So that rope right there has a shelf life of 100 years, whereas the plugs have a shelf life of about 30 years. So still a pretty long time.
Yeah, because these are squishy. These are not hard like the rope is. I felt the rope. It's completely different.
So the rope is going to be a little bit more rugged, a little bit more durable. But I mean, 30 years at the same time, 30 years is pretty good too, right?
That's a long time. I won't live that much longer.
Yeah. And then the other difference is the plugs. To process the plugs, you just, you can do it with your hands. Yeah. Whereas the rope, what you want to do, it's recommended you want to cut off a piece with your knife, because you could unstrand it, but once you unstrand it, you've got 30 strands of you got a big spaghetti mess.
Yeah. So that's how I did it. I just cut off just a little piece.
Yeah.
Right there. And it works great.
So that the biggest difference, shelf life, and then how you process it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Waterproof and windproof. I love your videos of how you're constantly jumping in a swimming pool, or like you said, people have left them out for almost a year, go and light it. I don't even know how that's possible. That just totally blows my mind. Years ago, there was just nothing like this. And, but now, I mean, you can pretty much just store it outside. And for people who constantly worry about things getting wet all the time, this is one thing that we don't have to worry about, getting wet. And I love that. Yeah. Makes a huge difference. Windproof, will not blow out. Another thing totally blows my mind, but when you extinguish your fire, you do it just the way you normally would, because your fire burns normally once it gets started.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yep. So the fire starters themselves, they are, waterproof, but the fire they create is not.
I like it.
Right.
Another thing that I really like how you've done with this, you really researched the materials and made with non-toxic chemicals, and so you don't have to worry about this hurting you. Now, just like with every other smoke, you don't want to just stand there and inhale it, but it's not going to be toxic to you if you do get a whiff of it. So I like that as well. The very high flash point. This blows my mind beyond comprehension, because something that does not have a flash point but yells still lights every single time.
Yeah.
That is, I paid a little bit of attention in science class, and
Just a little.
so that's so cool to me. How it lights every time, but it does not have a high flash point. It has to have a spark to ignite. Will not self-ignite. I love it.
That was another thing. And a lot of people like on our Instagram or Facebook, they're always like, so I have to have a flame or a spark to light it. Got it, But it's like, you don't want this self-igniting. Trust me, you do not want a fire starter that self-ignites. That's not good.
No.
I don't care who you are. That is not a bet, not a game that you want to be playing.
Right.
No, if I have this in my backpack, I don't want to be walking along and all of a sudden I feel something warm and my backpack's on fire. I want to do that myself.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you can light it with a ferro rod, it's easily lightable. Because anything that you can light with a ferro rod is easily lightable. So,
so do you, Joey? Do you ever use a ferro rod, or you always use matches?
I always carry a ferro rod just in case. I have a very small one that I have as a necklace. I wish I had it to show you, but it's a necklace that I have. It's really small. I got it on Etsy. Yeah, that you've got a really nice one. That's a really nice one. That I keep one of those in my FJ.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many lighters that quit on me.
Yeah.
I mean, this one you can't really tell. I haven't had to use it that much. I kind of keep this one as a backup because I usually use the lighter.
Yeah,
you go.
That's a really good lighter.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
that's a lot like the lighters I use for my cigars, because it is a flame throwing machine. I love it. Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Angry says that ferro rod pushes sparks so easy. So many rods are hard and take so much force, and that is true.
Yep.
Angry Al. Yeah, that's the man right there. Angry Al, Edgar.
Yeah.
Man. Yep.
Super cool guy. We're going to have him on the show first of next year. So I've already planned that out.
That guy's the real. I don't know if you guys have seen what he does, but he is the real deal.
Yeah. I really enjoy watching him and the stuff he does.
Yeah. He's in like the situations he puts himself in is insane, man. It's crazy. And he's another one of those guys that just goes out there and they just thrive. They just they know exactly what to do. They thrive in the worst conditions.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys.
I just want to know why the owl is so angry. That's the question. Why couldn't it be Happy Owl?
Happy Owl Outdoors.
Why isn't it Happy Owl? Anyway, I love how nothing's charred. When you deal with char, you get stuff all over you and everything becomes black. Nothing's charred, so it's a longer burn time.
Yep.
On your website, you have several different options to choose from, and we've talked about this already. So with the fire starters like Tony has, you get 50 plus fires from one stick. So that one stick that Tony had up there, you get 50 plus pliers. Windproof, waterproof, infinite shelf life, over 100 years. You won't live longer than that, and you just cut what you need and save the rest. So, like you said, it's just one of those things can last you a long time, and probably longer than most people will be able to use one.
Terrible for business, man. Terrible.
and yet, with your Black Friday sale, you're almost out because you've sold so much, because it's a good product.
Thank you.
Yeah. Curious about the history with the baseball background. What's he talking about?
We don't follow.
What do you mean baseball background? And we'll answer your question. Now I love the fire starters that Tony has. I keep those in the vehicle. Those are really dense, really hard, really heavy. With backpacking, I was telling these guys a little trick that I did with the fire plugs. Now, this fire plug, this is one fire plug. It has an 8-minute burn time, waterproof, windproof, also 30-year shelf life, and they come in a little pack like this. And there are, let's see,
50 or 100 in there.
I think there's 50.
There's
50
50
fire
in there.
plugs. 50.
Yeah.
And let me tell you that these last a long time. 50 fire plugs. So this is my backpacking. This is my backpacking stove that I boil my water in. It's about 5 ounces empty. And what I do is I cook with a little stove that uses Esbit tabs. This is an Esbit tab. And this is enough to boil water. And it takes a long time to light these. And so, especially when you use matches or micro bic or something like that. So what I have done is I have taken the little fire plugs and I cut them in 5 sections, and then I take a little mallet and I smash them down flat, and I can put them in these little baggies, and I can take about 5 or 6 of them with me, and they weigh nothing, and they light the Esbit tabs every single time. It takes just like that. You just light them up, and then you're done, and you don't have to worry about your match burning down, running out of matches, or anything like that. You don't have to worry about weight. And you can get a ton of lights out of one little plug. Mm-hmm. And so it has been, and one of the terms that I absolutely hate that we use all the time is game changer, but it has been a game changer for me because I used to have to worry about my lighter running out of fuel because I'd sit there on the Esbit tab trying to get the thing to light. They're not waterproof. They're not windproof.
Yeah.
And you've got to have some help. It's got to have some help. And that is the absolute perfect help for the Esbit tabs. And so it's just been an amazing turn of events. I'm not going to say game changer again.
Game changer. We use that a lot on our Instagram. So I apologize. I won't use that anymore.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, talking about fire, it's when you talk about it, it's easy enough. But when you're out, outdoors making fire, like it's, if the wind's blowing, like it's a whole new ball game. If the wind is blowing, or if it starts raining on, so it's like,
well, and just like, and going back to the hot air balloon ride, the guy who was in charge, the guy who had our lives in his hands, was telling us when you learn that the elements are in charge, then it changes everything. You can't fight them. You have to go with them. And so when you go out there, you can't change the facts that it's raining. You can't change the fact that the wind is blowing. And, a lot of times the wind is blowing and you just have to deal with it. But when you have things that make it easy on you to deal with, then it makes life so much easier. Mm-hmm. And So KJ has some cool bats that they present on social media every so often. Just was not sure what the story was behind it. No worries.
Oh, okay. I think Angry Al, he's talking about we did a giveaway with Mitchell Bat Company one. It was I think it was last year, 2023, for the World Series. Oh. Let me grab it real fast. So
cool bats.
Yeah, so we did a giveaway, and part of the giveaway, we didn't give this away, but they made us this baseball bat right here.
Oh wow!
This thing is super sweet, and the Mitchell Bat Company, they're awesome, man. They do like all the MLB teams, all the collegiate teams, like they're the real deal when it comes to bats. So they made us that bat, and so I think that's what he's referring to. We did a bat giveaway last year, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
That is so cool. That's very unique. You just don't see that.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome.
Especially in this industry, you don't give baseball bats away. That's very unique. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a wood bat too, so it's like it's not like some synthetic metal or any. It's wood. It's real wood. It's cool.
That is cool. All right. Well, that answered his question. He is satisfied. I'm glad he's actually in a place where he can watch us tonight. So. Fire starters, fire plugs. You also have kits that you do, the ferro rods, the lighters. quite a few things that are on the website. And if you go to the website, it is blackbeardfire.com. And they have so many cool things that you can get on there, especially right now with the sale that they have going on Black Friday. Fire kits up to 50% off. Get them while you can. Get them while you can.
How long's the sale going?
So our Black Friday, well, I should say our sale, I think we might have had to take it down already just because we sold so much of it. If you scroll up, let's see. Yeah, it looks like we had to take it down. So I think that happened today. Just sold too much. We still have all these products that you see right there are all on sale, but all of our special Black Friday sales, that was like the buy one get one free.
Okay.
You know, the buy two Blackbeard Fire starters, get like a t-shirt and a lighter and a whole bunch of other stuff. So unfortunately we had to take those down, but
you still have a pretty good sale going on.
Yeah, everything else.
Your best sellers, kits, fire plugs. I mean, you get 50 fire plugs for $15. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. And I promise you, if there's anybody that's listening to this podcast, they will want that. That's something that they will want.
And that's American made too. That's not the El Cheapos at Walmart. That's
oh my goodness, I love it.
American quality and craftsmanship right there.
Yeah, we don't get our stuff from China Mart. We get our stuff from US of A. I love it. That is so cool. I love the history. I love how you and your brother got this together and are taking it off. And you know, you really put it out there about how you came up with the logo. Y'all just sat down on your lunch break one day, drew something out, and you really, you know, come clean about how it all started on the About Us page. So cool. Hand-drawn logo, the little Chinaman Blackbeard that you have going on there.
We've even got our oil measurements on there too, and all sorts of stuff.
That is so neat.
Materials on there, but yeah.
So neat. I love it. Chasing your dreams. Well, I'm really happy for you guys about how you were able to you know, retire from the other jobs that you were doing and do this full time, because this is something that benefits everybody in the community. You know, everybody that we know loves to sit around the fire, and you're making it easy on all of us. So it's very beneficial. How has the community accepted what you're doing? Have they really bought into what you're putting out there?
Oh man, we're so blessed, man. Ever since we started back in 2019, it's been nothing but just good people, you know, just good people coming into our lives. We've got the best, you know, we've got the best customers. We've got the best audience on social media. You extremely support it. Like it's awesome, man. I have no complaints. We're blessed and we're grateful, you know, to be able to, you know, create a product that everyone likes. And, you know, and it's, you know, I don't know how else to say it other than we're blessed. You know, everyone's been so kind to us, accepted us, supported us, shared our stuff, you know, people, you know, stick our stickers everywhere. It's awesome, man.
Well, one of the best things that you have going for you is how people use your product, post it on social media, and tag you on it, because that is a testimony of how it's working. And you get that all the time. You know, you post all the time on Instagram. We love the pictures that you're sending. Keep sending them. Keep sending them. And you know, the one that I posted on our social media today to advertise about this podcast was actually one that I stole from you, that you stole from somebody else. So I mean, just keep it going, because everybody's doing it.
Well, it's so cool when people do that though, because like, you know, we've got our ideas on what kind of like content or pictures we want to make or videos or whatever. But then like someone like, you know, across the country and, you know, in, you know, Massachusetts or, you know, somewhere, you know, wherever they do something, like they've got fresh ideas that we didn't even think of. And so when they do it, and then like we say, like, dude, that's amazing. Like that looks awesome. I never even thought to like, you know, make a video doing this or take a picture with the, you know, the product right here or try that. Like it's really cool because, you know, it goes from like having just me and my brother's small little minds. You know, we've got all these great minds like doing their things, and it's awesome just because like it just opens up endless possibilities with it.
Yeah, and when you've got a product that can be taken apart and manipulated and conformed to how people live their lives and do their make their rigs and how they camp and whatever, whether you're a bushcrafter like the Angry Owl guy, or whether you're an overlander or a backpacker or whatever, you've got a product that can be manipulated, just like me cutting it apart and smashing it down and cutting the weight and making it how I need to make it and doing it what I need to do with it. You've got so many people out there that are doing their own thing with it as well.
Yeah.
And so that creates that much more.
And see what you did. Me and my brother never would have thought about that in a million years, because we don't have your exact your foster can setup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that would never have crossed our minds. So it's like so cool to come across you and see that that's how you're using it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have anything, earth shattering like Joey. I use it, kind of in a conventional way. It's just, the first thing when I get to camp, I set up my pop-up fire pit. Like I've said, I started the reverse building of the fire stack, and I light one of those plugs and set it on the wood, and I go about my business, and I turn around and the fire's going, and it just makes life so much easier.
Nice.
So
yeah, it does. And
Yes.
And it only takes just a small portion of it,
Mhm.
and you've got that much more. So to make a product so good that you say, we made that too good. We're hurting our business because people only have to buy it once. But you're making a product so good, and you stick with that and you stand by that's highly respectable.
Thank you.
Especially in this climate these days, because a lot of people are about the almighty dollar, but you're out there about putting a good product out, and I love that, and I'm sold. I love it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Make sure and follow on Instagram at Blackbeard Fire, on Facebook, Blackbeard Fire Starters. We said it already and showed it. Blackbeardfire.com, where you also have a blog, and you also have different videos on there that you posted about people that have used your product in different ways, showed how, once again, how you can leave it underwater for so long and then bring it back up and it lights again. Yeah. It's just interesting stuff. So I want to highly encourage everybody to go to the website and do that. YouTube, also Blackbeard Fire Starters, with more of the videos. KJ, man, really appreciate you coming on and sharing with us about that, especially about your history, where your family came from and how you sailed in there. I love how you put on your website about, this is a family business. Me and my brother do this, wife and several kids. And, this past weekend has been Black Friday, but it's also been Small Business Saturday was in there. Yeah. And we want to support small business and those who are out there supporting our community. And we really appreciate you.
Thank you guys for having me on. Yes. I really appreciate you guys.
Yes.
You bet. Yeah. Well, we will help you out any way that we can, because we are huge fans. I want to encourage everybody before we go. Oh, I want to show everybody this. I got my very first one of these. Look at this. I got me a medal for running a race this past weekend at my turkey trot.
On purpose?
I'm pretty proud of that.
You did that on purpose?
I didn't even have anybody chasing me.
Then that involves running.
Yeah, and if you hadn't done it yet, Timber's new book out there, Memoir of a Wild Man, he sent this, and if you holler at him, he will actually sign it for you. So that's
right on.
Cool.
Right on.
Anyway, good dude, and I promise you, he will be using Blackbeard Fire Starters.
Sounds good.
Hope everybody has a wonderful week, and take care. It's the time to be thankful. We all have something to be thankful for. I hope you spend some time with your family, because one thing that we are never guaranteed, and that is time. So take advantage that you can. Spend some time with your family. Tell them you're thankful for them. We're getting into the holiday season. They're going to need some presents. Blackbeardfire.com. Get the kits, get the plugs, right here. Start a fire, sit around, talk to each other, have a good time. KJ, thank you. On behalf of Tony and myself, I hope you have a wonderful week. Look out for number 1, and don't step in